Now, I'm sure everyone who's played video games in the past 15 years, whether it be on Xbox or PlayStation, you've probably went after trophies or achievements before. I mean, I know when I was a kid, I used to always go after achievements on Xbox to get the highest gamer score I could. Looking back, my gamer score is kind of average, which I'm ashamed of, but that aside, I do have a small history with PlayStation growing up. I mean, I started off with a PS2, which obviously had no achievements, but it wasn't until 2016 I got my PS4 and I truly realized how cool the achievement system on there was. As you probably know, upon getting all trophies or achievements on most games on PlayStation, you'll be rewarded with a platinum, and that pretty much shows off like how many games you 100%ed. I never actually got a platinum until recently, which was hell, by the way. It wasn't until then that I really thought, damn, I can open the gates to so many other games I've never really got into before, like maybe the Ratchet and Clank games, something like that, or the games I have memories playing, like Minecraft, Call of Duty, maybe the Pack World game that just got remastered. But then I thought, a game I used to play religiously upon the last few years was Fortnite. And I always knew Fortnite had achievements, and something else I knew is that they were not tied to the Battle Royale mode that I mainly played, or that most people mainly played. They were actually tied to the main mode, Save the World, the Left 4 Dead clone. I mean, the PvE zombie survival mode. Now, one thing is that I always knew getting all the achievements or all the trophies on Fortnite would be hard, because Save the World is a very grindy game, and it's not fun to sit through, and it takes forever to beat the main story, and obviously I thought, oh wow, all the achievements and trophies are probably tied to just beating the main story or something. Then I actually looked at the achievement list, and that's when I realized just how bad these trophies truly are. The reason I know this is because I've been playing Save the World for the past 4 years, and when I saw some of these trophies, I was absolutely baffled. And I just knew I had to make a video on it because I feel not enough people talk about this, and I haven't found enough videos about this. Let's just take a dive into how bad these Fortnite trophies really are, and why this game has a platinum that's straight from hell. Now, first off, we got the charity trophies. These trophies are very easy to get. They just consist of beating the first 2 missions, which, upon many of my friends' experiences and my own experience, getting the game for the first time was a blast. I mean, it was so much different from the normal Battle Royale mode, so I was instantly glued to it. The game has 3 segments: Stonewood, Plankerton, and Canny Valley. Stonewood is very easy to get through. Most of these charity trophies are just mainly through beating the Stonewood missions, and upon doing those, you'll also get some of the other charity trophies, like unlocking your first weapon, unlocking hero types, getting your first survivor, shit like that, you know, things you don't even have to focus on. Those trophies will be handed to you. These, honestly, I don't want to waste too much time on, because they're kind of self-explanatory. I feel like every game has its own charity trophies, but yeah, now on to the medium difficulty trophies. Now, these medium trophies are really just beating missions midway in the game. Like, you'll be rewarded with most missions you beat, not all. As you progress in the game, you'll just get more trophies handed to you for progressing, and that's what these medium difficulty trophies are. I'd say most people drop Save the World around the beginning of Plankerton. That's because the game's very repetitive and time-consuming, missions take too long. Not a lot of people play this game anymore, so it can be hard to find matches. So, I mean, it is kind of difficult to get some of these later trophies just because of the grind and the commitment. It's not fun. But, I wouldn't say they're hard. If you are, like, hell-bent on platinuming this game, I'm sure you're hell-bent on beating this game. So I wouldn't even say these trophies are hard. They're just a little time-consuming. Now, I mean, let's be real. Everything I just mentioned was complete bullshit, you know, complete filler, because what's to come next is the point of this video, the trophies straight from hell. And what's funny is that these trophies only maybe make up like 20% of the trophy list, but they're some of the most time-consuming, monotonous trophies I've ever seen. Definitely not the worst trophies, and certainly not the hardest, but definitely the most time-consuming. So let's just jump right into them. Now for the part you've all been waiting for, the trophies straight from hell. These trophies aren't even hard. They're really not. They're just so monotonous and grindy. They'll make you want to quit everything you're doing. I mean, these trophies could take you up to like a year to get, unless you're willing to sit hundreds upon hundreds of hours straight trying to get these. These are not the hardest trophies of all time, but they're damn near close. I mean, these trophies are just so grindy and monotonous. I mean, let's just start off with the first thing, which is beating the game. That's probably like the most obvious one on this list. Now, beating the game can take you around maybe 100 to 300 hours. I mean, it really depends on how well you do on missions. It depends how many people are helping you. It depends what missions you get. And it also depends on RNG, because some of these missions require you to pick up item drops, and you might have to retry the same mission like 7 times. That's happened to me a couple times, so yeah, some missions alone can take like 2 hours to beat. So, beating the game is not fun, and upon the 5 years I've been playing this game, to be fair, not consistently, but still 5 years, I have not beaten this game yet, but I'm damn near close. If you think that's all there is to this trophy list, is just beating a very long and grindy game, then you're dead wrong. Even after you beat the game, fact is, you're probably not going to have most of these trophies. Now, some of these hellish trophies include saving 10,000 survivors, killing 20,000 mist monsters, fully exploring 1,500 zones, and completing 1,000 play with other missions, and building 500,000 structures. Now, trophies like save 10,000 survivors are also really time consuming, because I want to say if you're really lucky, you can maybe get up to 15 survivors saved in one mission, and that takes 20 minutes, and it really depends on the mission. Some missions you can only get like 6 survivors. So at least this is going to take you around, roughly on average, over 1,000 missions of just saving survivors. You might get like 10% of this achievement just playing throughout the entire game. You know, if you're going straight for this achievement, it's going to take on average at least 1,000 missions. And speaking about 1,000 missions, there's another trophy, which is fully explore 1,500 zones. Now, zones in this game are pretty easy to fully explore. All you really have to do is go around the map until your entire map is filled out. Now, obviously, there's only one zone per mission, so to fully explore 1,500 zones, you're going to be playing 1,500 missions. Obviously, you can knock a few of these zones out on your first playthrough without even noticing. You're honestly not going to get anywhere near close to 100%ing this achievement on your first playthrough throughout the game. Maybe, again, like 6%. Now, another insane achievement is probably killing 20,000 mist monsters. Now, mist monsters aren't that hard to find. You can find like 20 of them per mission. On average, you might kill 20 of them, maybe less. You could definitely kill more if you tried. I mean, just to be fair, just for the sake of this video, let's say on a good day, you get 20 mist monsters. You're probably gonna get less. That's over, again, 1,000 missions, which is absolutely insane. And I know I've been saying this a lot, 1,000 missions. Just how long is 1,000 missions? Now, the shortest a mission can be, if you're really lucky, the shortest a mission could be is maybe 15, on average, 20 plus minutes. You're gonna have missions that last 30 minutes. If you're unlucky, you'll probably have missions that last 40 minutes. If you're having a really bad day, you could have missions that last up to an hour. It really depends on the mission, because there are a lot of missions that are timed, so you only have 20 minutes in the first place. Now, on average, if we do account 20 minutes per mission, which is just not going to happen, you're going to have missions that last more than this. Let's just say you're really lucky. You have 20 minutes per mission and you complete 1,000 missions. That's at least 300 plus hours. Just knocking out 100 missions, not mentioning that all these absurd tasks you have to do. The fact some of these tasks are going to take over 1,000 missions, and the fact some of these you have to be very specific with. Like, probably the most infamous trophy, in my opinion, not the hardest, but definitely the most infamous, which is complete 1,000 play with other missions. Now, as you're progressing through the game, you might think, oh, every mission you play is just a play with other mission, but no, you'd be wrong. To do a play with other mission, you actually have to go on the map and do play with other. So you have to do a play with other mission 1,000 times, which are absolutely not going to get done in your first playthrough. And most of the missions you do on your first playthrough are not going to be play with other missions. Now, if you're lucky, this can take 300 hours to complete, obviously above that. And on top of all of this, which honestly, to me, seemed like the easiest one to get, is actually, in my opinion, the hardest one. And this is building 500,000 structures. Now, if you know Fortnite, Fortnite's entire gimmick is building. So because of this, I just thought, oh, okay, just build 500,000 times. I mean, that can't be that hard. Until I looked at my progress, and I was like, oh, shit. This is not easy. The max material cap you can have, just considering you, like, beat the game and everything, as far as I know, is 5,000. Now there's 5,000 wood, 5,000 brick, and 5,000 metal, so that's 15,000. That's a good number. I mean, am I not wrong? So considering you're building 500,000 structures, you have to use up all these 15,000 materials, maybe like 30 to 50 plus times. I don't know math. So considering all this, you just spam build, right? I mean, 15,000 is a big-ass number. Then you realize you also have to get these materials back as you go along, and if you want to actually beat missions, you're gonna have to save these materials. You can't just spend every mission spamming all your builds, which takes a bit of time on itself, and then getting them all back, which can honestly take up to like 20 minutes just to get like maybe all your metal back. This achievement is just not something you can get done on the side. This is an achievement you'll have to put like dedicated time to, because obviously to complete 1,000 missions, you have to beat them. You have to save your materials, your traps to beat the missions. This is a PvE game, this isn't a sandbox. And although this game's not necessarily difficult, it's not spoon-fed either. It's not extremely easy, so you're gonna have to try, and you can't just spam your builds every mission you play. I mean, if it was that easy, yeah, this achievement would be a cakewalk, but no, it's not. And that's not to mention, you don't always have 5,000 builds. You actually start off pretty small. I think it's around 1,000, then as you progress throughout the game, you get 3,000, and then you eventually get 5,000. I mean, throughout all the hours of Save the World I've played, I have only gotten 12% of this achievement, and as you know, I've almost beat the entire game. So throughout an entire playthrough, you're probably gonna get around 12 to 15% of this achievement. So even after you beat the game, this is an achievement you're gonna have to dedicate a lot of time to. I didn't even get 100,000, I only got 60,000. And I built a shit ton. I mean, when I first got this game, I remember I'd just spam build for fun. I'd build like houses and shit. I wasn't necessarily going for a level-headed approach. I mean, I was building a lot, and even then I only got 60,000 done throughout the countless hours I've spent on this game throughout the past 5 years. I mean, just getting the platinum in this game is insane. I mean, there's so many things you have to consider at once. At the end of it all, I mean, this game can take at least, and I mean at least, 500 to 1,000 hours to platinum. I mean, 1,000 is a bit of a stretch, but it's taken some people that long. On average, I want to say 700 hours. I mean, even so, you have to consider how long 700 hours is. That's an entire month straight of playing Save the World and focusing on this platinum. And this isn't even a fun platinum to get. This is one of the most tedious ones of all time. I mean, this isn't some chill platinum you can get. Sure, it's not difficult, but you have to remember what you're doing. I mean, you have to remember to save these survivors. You have to make sure you fully explored every zone you played. You have to make sure you're playing the right mission. And even after all this, there's a high chance you probably don't have some of these done. Like, you probably won't have the build 500 structures mission done by the end of it all. So that's why I honestly think this is a platinum straight from hell. This is not easy to get. And only 700 people have been able to platinum this game, which, I mean, considering Save the World isn't as popular as Battle Royale, that may be obvious, but Save the World still has millions of players. I mean, that's a real low percentage, honestly, for any platinum. And it's because of all of this, I don't think I'm going to be going for this platinum. I mean, that's a lot of dedication, even for someone who's almost beaten this entire game, which is honestly just too much of a grind on its own from personal experience. It doesn't help this game is probably never going to be getting any large updates again, considering the Battle Royale mode is just so much more popular and refined, but that's a story for another time. I mean, hey, if you like this game that much, and you have enough dedication, I mean, go for it. Try getting the Platinum that only 700 other people have. It's not even the hardest Platinum, it's just one of the most tedious to get, and one of the most time-consuming, definitely. And that's why I just think the Platinum for Fortnite is just a Platinum from hell. But if you think that's bad, imagine being that one sad soul who got every trophy in Garfield Kart Racing, only to find out it didn't have a platinum in the first place. Worst day of my fucking life.
There's cat's eye, you're gonna be sure, safe and secure. It's the last rites for those pests. It's cat's eye, call the best of the best to get rid of your pest.